Are video games the Pokemon cards antiques, and what happens when you don't have the motivation to start adding to your collection? All this and more in this week's video. Let's get into it. So you actually join me here with a slightly different start to the video, and we're actually at Kilmarnock Antique Centre. And this was the reason I turned up, this cabinet full of retro games. As you can see, top row, plenty of PlayStation 1 and some N64, as well as some old classic Game Boy cartridges, even some vintage Pokémon. Certainly some decent prices, especially compared to CEX. The stuff for sale in this cabinet is owned by Brick Road, who's done a reasonably good job recently setting up some events for collectors and traders in the area. Quite fancied these two cannons. Some retro comics, which actually had the old Forbidden Planet stickers from the old Buchanan Street store. And then in this cabinet we did find a PlayStation 1 and N64 for sale. I do kinda wish I'd picked up the PS1. Just some standard old toys, Simpsons collectibles. And a stack of PlayStation 1 games. Now I'll do pickups for this trip in a wee second, but I wonder if you can guess what games I picked up from this pile. And the last thing I looked at in here was this first edition Harry Potter book. So after that trip to Kilmarnock Antique Centre, I did pick up 3 PlayStation 1 games, despite not owning them to actually play them on yet. The first thing, WWF Attitude. WWF SmackDown. And of course, SmackDown 2. For anyone who doesn't know, we do have a WWE wrestling themed podcast that we drop every week called The Golden Shovel. You'll be able to find all the links down in the description below. These have been bought not necessarily to play, but to eventually add to what will become a display behind me, sitting next to the ever-growing collection of wrestling cards that I've started picking up. And that gives me a nice little segue into the next segment of this video. What the hell is actually going on with the Pokemon TCG? So for anyone that has watched Friday's video, which is the premiere episode of our brand new weekly nerd culture podcast called TNF Talks, where we just pick some topics and start chatting away, you'll notice we had a segment there at the start regarding what we're collecting and why, which is kind of what spawned this video, because it was going to be a standard vlog originally. Now, we're all collecting Pokemon cards, and that's cool, but the issue that we're all facing is just what to collect, how to collect it right now, because I know personally I'm trying to master set 151 Surge and Sparks Temporal Forces, and apart from Temporal Forces I cannot get sealed product for the other two anywhere. The only sealed product I've seen for the other two was some Surge and Sparks and Forgotten Worlds the other week, and shout out to the guys for at least keeping it at MSRP. But that is the big issue we're facing right now, is prices are ridiculous. You're talking something like 18 quid a pack for 151 if you can find it in shops, and it's just taking the fun out of it. And you're looking at eBay prices, you're looking at whatnot prices, you're looking at everything else that's for sale, and to be honest with you, people are taking the piss. And the last thing I seen was a conversation between two people on Twitter/X, where somebody's pointing out that people are trying to sell raw cards, saying this will be the 10, therefore it should be grading price off a 10. I.e. if it's a PSA 10, it's a £100 card and the grading fee is 30 quid, then the cards will be worth 70. Surely it's a situation where if the card's a 10, then you grade it as a 10 and then sell it. And we'll just see more and more of this. And one of the biggest issues that we're having is, and Daz and I discussed it on the Friday's podcast, is that when you're trying to collect certain sets, and for me this is 151, I need a Charizard SIR. I either have to buy one and crack the slab to put it in the binder, or I'm hoping to find a slightly beaten up one to my binder copy. But what essentially is happening is people are pulling these cards and immediately grading them. So you've got a massive population of 9s and 10s, and then nothing else for everybody else to collect. So it's really interesting to see what happens, because the bubble certainly hasn't burst through at 2025, and as we head into the 30th anniversary next year, it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So I'm interested to know what people's thoughts are on the general situation of the TCG at the moment, and also, if you're grading, why would you grade with PSA, ACE, TAG, or any alternatives? Because that's a topic we're going to discuss in future episodes. Now, I have just alluded to the fact that I've changed what I'm collecting and why I'm collecting it, and I've started picking up wrestling cards now. As I've already plugged the podcast, I won't do that again. However, we're all massive wrestling fans. The big difference for me is that I can pick up base cards of wrestlers that I like for £1 and put them in a nice my case and stick them in my display behind me when I'm done. And then I can add patches and autos and nicer cards to create displays, and I can decide to collect certain sets or certain colours or certain wrestlers, and availability seems to be quite good at the moment, apart from the new sets, which the break prices are insane, versus some of the prices I'm seeing on the Pokemon TCG stuff, especially and whatnot, is just ridiculous the way that prices have been driven up. So I'm actually just wanting to know what everybody else out there is currently collecting, and this isn't just about cards. This could be cards, games, toys, pop Funkos, anything. What are you collecting and why are you collecting it? And that's going to lead me into the last segment of this video. We're about to jump back to CEX. We're about to go into a game concession stand in a Sports Direct and talk a little about what games I'm collecting and why I'm collecting them. But the big issue I'm having is, and as I've talked about in most videos, I've just moved house, everything's a mess, and I need to sort out my room and my display first. Come and join me in CEX in Kilmarnock. So I've no idea what part of the vlog this is going to make it into, but I've jumped into Kilmarnock because I'm going to go and hit up CEX and a couple other shops, see what we can find. The last place I was the Antique Centre, which also picked up a few PS1 games, which we'll get to and wrap up at the end of this. But let's go and see what CEX is looking like today. Like we said, back here at CEX in Kilmarnock, and the usual window shut. And I'll be honest, on this day there was nothing really jumping out at me. Plenty of consoles, couple of nice games, nice teal Game Boy colour in at the bottom, plenty of Switches, a little bit of tech, but a pretty bog standard. Nice copy of Manhunt as we head inside, and some Logitech steering wheels, which we'll get to in a wee second. Plenty of Switches, plenty of consoles, all the usual stuff. Insta360, everybody keeps telling me these are better than the DJI cameras. Let them know what you think below. Cheap webcams, do a job for a setup. Now, this is the interesting bit, I was looking at Switch games, because I do need to get some games, and Ross and I have talked about playing It Takes Two on stream. Let us know if that's something you guys would be interested in seeing. And always just check in case there's any WWE DVDs. Didn't pick this up at the time because I do think I might already own this. That was the first Rumble post-COVID. Now, I'm interested in people's opinion on this, because I did skip Cyberpunk because of the issues around release, but let me know again in the comments, did I miss out, should I go back and play it, is it worthwhile picking up for £15? Back at the Switch games, as I keep saying every week when I'm doing these vlogs, I don't have any games apart from Let's Go Pikachu, and I don't even know what I want to play. I have looked at the Assassin's Creed Ezio collection, however, it's digital download only. Modern Warfare box set, and this lovely looking PS4 Spider-Man edition. Let's throw it back to me sitting in my office in post-production. I'm back here, second day of post-production working on this video. And unfortunately from my trip to CEX, no pickups. And I'm going to get to it in a wee second, but I just had a bit of a struggling day, to be honest. I could not get in the mood for filming, and I could not get in the mood for collecting. And I've alluded to it a couple of times in this video, but the real reason for that is as simple as the house is just a mess right now. And anything I buy is just getting sat in a box or a cupboard until such times I can get this room ready. Now, with that being said, I'm going to cut into a clip. I'm going to walk you guys through the room and some of the plans for it. And let me know in the comments below what you think, what will look good in gaming room, collecting room setup moving forward. This is obviously the main space here. I'm going to have some acoustic paneling on the back there, and possibly a single ultra-wide monitor. Now ignore the mess, but you can see it's a decent sized room. It's at least 2.5 times the size of the old office. So yeah, some acoustic paneling behind the desk. Everything else will be painted white with sort of black accents. Cable management will get sorted, don't worry about that, and it'll get permanent lights. I'm going to keep the black theme with the storage, because I'm going to get some black IKEA units possibly behind there, get some acrylic fronts and protect everything. Now, this is the side of the room I'm not sure what to do. Once I get it cleared out and unpacked properly, couple of chairs, get a telly mounted for watching stuff, possibly even doing an in-person podcast. But the other thing is, I do really fancy a sim rig. I'm interested to know what you guys think. Is that something that is achievable? But yeah, big things coming. Now, this is me hitting a game, and we've talked about game at length in the channel in the last few weeks. It's just died. I mean, okay, we have the chart games here. Let us know if you just play the new Mafia game and if it's worth picking up. But God, do we miss the days of actually having trading in games. Flip side, exact same. PlayStation 5, same games. And what I thought was a good deal on the Switch 2 for 20 quid on some titles, unfortunately they were mostly digital downloads, so that put me off. But looking at some tech for the eventual setup, I was a early adopter of Govee lights back when they were the cheap option. Now they are just the same price, so let me know what you guys think. Govee, Philips, Nanoleaf. Some decent collection of Pokemon cards. I'm going to assume this is last year's holiday calendars on sale. And then the usual Charizard collection box, which is available everywhere. And the last thing is a couple of Black Ball booster packs sitting available. And of course, Temporal Forces, because everywhere has Temporal Forces. I do apologise for the state of the room there. I'm just trying to give us a quick brief tour. I had to film that in between the guys down the bathroom right there, which is happening this week, so it's not quite as in-depth as I want it to be, but I'm interested to know if you guys would be interested in seeing a full overhaul feature, what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this into essentially the dream gaming room and collecting room. Now with that being said, that is the end of the video. Now, you might be wondering where the pickups were. As I say, I've switched my collecting a little bit, still focusing on some games, but picked up a whole stack of wrestling cards. Collecting singles of wrestlers that I like, wrestlers that might have some value in the future, should they eventually ascend to World Championship status. So let us know in the comments, does anybody have an interest in that, or am I just keeping this one to myself? Obviously we'll get back with some Pokemon stuff eventually when hopefully things appear to calm down. But with that being said, keep an eye out for next week's video, because we go to Forgotten Worlds, which has recently reopened after an expansion, and it was absolutely epic. Join us again Friday night for the next episode of the podcast. Take it easy guys, we'll see you in the next one.